Right guys, back again with another cook along with me, Adam from Young Shrewsbury, and today I'm going to show you how to make cheat samosas using tortilla wraps. You can buy these in any supermarket. Make it really easy to make amazing veggie samosas. Alright, so we're going to get started straight away. As usual, we're going to begin with a couple of onions. Alright, so just going to do the usual, taking the top and bottom off, take the skin off. Okay, you just want to chop these up into kind of like, because you get some texture in your samosa, you want to slice these sort of lengthways quite thinly, so we get a kind of little strips of onion. Okay, so I'm just going to go straight along like that, all the way down. You can take it a lot slower than I do. Don't cut your fingers off trying to go fast. Okay, I'm just used to it, I cook a lot. Alright. Well, there we go. So take your time. So you cut onions down into strips, like so. I nearly cut myself then. So even with all my experience, it happens. Very close. In fact, that onion is manky. I'm going to get another one. 1 second. Okay, back in with a fresh onion. Don't want manky onions. Right, top and bottom off. Slice it in half. Skin off. Get rid of all these bits in between. Okay, and then peel that back. And like so. And then just slice into strips. That easy. Right, and the other half. Good. Okay, next I want you to take a little bit of your oil and put it into a pan on a medium heat. And we're just going to start by frying off these onions. So about a tablespoon of oil. Okay, and the onions are going to go in to the oil. Like so. With a little bit of salt as well. We always do this with onions. And that's going to help you to reduce down the amount of water that's in the onion and intensify the flavours. Also, I'd like to add at this point a teaspoon, teaspoon of cumin seeds, okay? So these are going to give great flavour, and some of the oils from the seeds are going to come out into the onions and make them super tasty. Okay, so about a teaspoon of cumin seeds, just frying those onions. Now, while we're waiting, I need you to peel a couple of potatoes. So, I'm going to try and do this really quickly. And then we're going to cut them into discs and then into squares, alright? Little squares which are going to cook really quickly because we want to do this quite fast. Okay, but we're just going to, while those onions are frying, get all of the potatoes. And you guys have got parsnips and you've also got Swede. I couldn't get any parsnips today, so I'm going to use sweet potato, but you can use any root veg, like in these samosas. It doesn't really matter, so you can use up whatever you've got left over, whatever mum's got in the fridge. You know, you don't have to use exactly the same ingredients as me. Alright, just going to give those a little stir, get a bit of colour on those onions. Keep peeling. Whoops. Like that. So I've got 2 potatoes. So what I'm going to do is cut them into like what look like sort of maybe centimetre or a bit less than a centimetre thick chips straight across, so into discs like that, all the way across. Okay, and then that one. Alright, and then put the disc flat. I'm going to run the knife along, and then across, and we end up with some nice little diced squares like that. Okay, I'm going to keep going on those. You could stack 2 together if you want to make it quicker, and just do it like that, and just sort of chop them in half and half again. Okay, going to keep going with that. So that's the spuds done. Oh, that's 1 spud done actually. You know what? 1 spud. Yeah, we'll do 2 spuds. I might do 1 spud here. You guys do 2 because you're probably going to make more samosas than I am. I'm going to do 1 just to save time. I'm going to try and do all this live for you. And secondly, we've got our Swede, so I'm just going to peel off some of the outside of that. Okay. And you can leave the rest of the skin on. You're not going to use a whole Swede, there's no way. You probably use like a third of it. So if you just peel off as far down as you want to go, so you see I've peeled that far, okay, get rid of the peel, because that's going to be in the way. And then you can save the rest of the Swede for something else. So what we're going to do here is just slice straight across it. I'll show you once I get rid of all this peel. Slice straight across it, like this. So again, you've just got discs just like you had with your potato. Get an adult to help you if it's hard, if you haven't got a sharp knife, okay? Don't want you to cut yourself. So discs down on the deck, and then you're going to go along like that and across, and straight away you've got nice cubes of Swede as well, the same size as the potatoes. Try and make everything the same size, because then it'll cook at the same speed. If you've got massive chunks of Swede and little chunks of potato, then obviously the Swede's going to take longer to cook and they're going to end up being hard when the potato's all mushy. So you don't want that. Right, I'm getting some nice smells and colours off these onions now. Give them another stir. Smelling awesome. Okay, right, and then finally we have, so you use your parsnips, so you would just peel your parsnips, probably with 1 or 2 parsnips. I've got a sweet potato, so again I'm just going to peel the top half of this, because the rest of it is going to remain fresher if I leave the skin on it for another day. So I'm just going to peel the top bit off, like that, and just like I did with the Swede, put it down on the deck. Just going to slice across, maybe 3 of those, because it's not quite as fat as the Swede. And then we're just going to turn that into squares as well. So along and across. Really, really easy. Okay. By this point, I reckon your onions are going to be getting quite brown, which is what we want. What we're going to do, let's chop that last bit up, is when your onions are brown, if you've got a bowl or a board like I've got here, I'm literally just going to take the onions off now, and I'm going to scrape them into, well, I'm going to put them onto my board because I haven't got a plate here, but you can put them onto a board, in a plate, whatever, in a bowl, that's fine. Pan's going to go back on the heat now, and I'm going to add in the potatoes, the sweet potato and the Swede, okay, into the pan. I'm going to give that a good hit of water. Add some salt first, about a tablespoon of salt, and then I'm going to cover it with, you should use boiling water. This is a really, really hot stove, I don't need to, but you want to bring that up to the boil. You probably want to boil them because they're really small, probably need 5 minutes at the most, I would say. Boiling just until they're soft, so you can just check them with scoop one out, check it with a knife or a fork. As soon as they're soft, then they're going to be good to drain. While we're waiting for that to happen, next thing we're going to do is sort out our tortillas. So I'm going to just make about 8 samosas here. So you can make 4 from each wrap, alright? So what you want to do is put the wraps down, however many you want to make, and I'm going to slice it directly in half, like that. And then put those half on top of the other half, turn it sideways, I'm going to slice it directly in half again, so you end up with these like quarter semicircles, right? So get those stacked up ready, and then the next thing we need to do is make a little bit of a glue, which is going to kind of go into, it's going to be used to stick these samosas together before we fry them. So what we need to do is take a bowl and some plain flour. Got about a tablespoon of plain flour, like that, into a bowl. And then take some water, a tiny bit of water, and then with your spoon, put a splash in, mix it together, right? And basically what we want to end up with is something that's a bit like PVA glue that you use at school. So we're going to keep just working it down until you've got like a thick glue made of flour and water. Okay, that's what we're going to use. That's nearly there. Didn't put much in at all. Obviously, if you put too much water in, just add in a bit more flour, and it'll bring it back. Right, but that is quite thick, yeah? That's what we want, like horrible porridge is what you want it. That kind of thickness. And put a tiny bit more water in there. And that is absolutely perfect, I would say. So we're looking at consistency that runs off the spoon but still kind of sticks to it. Alright, now all we need to do is wait for these to boil and then I'll show you the next bit. Okay, so I've got my potato, my sweet potato and my Swede that's now cooked. I've let it cool a little bit. You need to let it cool to the point where you can handle it, okay? So that's going to go into the bottom. I'm going to use the old saucepan to save washing up. I'm also going to add in some peas. You don't have to do this, but you can. So the peas are going in, okay? And then those onions that we fried earlier need to go in. And also, I'm going to chop up a couple of chilies. Okay, I'm going to chop these ones really fine. They're going to go into the mix. Obviously, if you like chili, put more chili in. If you don't, put less chili in. It's really that simple. Okay, and then we're going to go in with some turmeric powder. I have an open mind, so we need to just shake in about a teaspoon of that. And then a teaspoon of coriander. Okay, and then I'm going to go in for some curry powder as well. About a teaspoon. And then finally, we're going to take some coriander, fresh coriander, so move that out of the way, and just chop it up nice and fine. And I'm going to add that to the mix as well. Okay. Once everything's in there, you need to get a decent spoon and give it all a real good mix up, because this is going to be the filling for your samosas. Okay, so get it really mixed up good. And you can, you know, some of the chunks might break down. You want to have cooked this to the point where they're quite soft. Okay, so it'll kind of, there'll be still some texture to the root vegetables that you've cooked, but you don't want them completely falling apart. So you end up with a mix that looks something like that. Okay, cool. Right, now put that to one side. Next thing, I'm going to take our samosas now, or our tortilla wraps. I'm going to make all the samosas up before we start frying them. So I'm going to take a spoon like this. Now, in order to fold these, what you need to do is take the curved side like this. You're going to fold in to the middle. Okay, like that. And then across again, and that will create a little kind of like, almost like an ice cream cone, okay? Now what we're going to do is take some of that glue that we made, okay, run the glue along one side of the samosa, and that will stick the other side to it. Okay, so it kind of glues it down. Okay, so we've glued that together there. So you'll see that'll sit in a little kind of like triangle. Okay, then you need to take some of your mix, okay, and load it into your samosas. Okay, so whack it right in, fill it all up, okay, like that. And then finally, you need to pack it in and get it really tight. And then the last thing we do is fold it all together, and then the flap at the top will go over. And we're going to just I've probably overfilled that a bit. If you can't fold it and you put too much filling in, this is what I did. You'll get used to it as you do more. Okay, and then we're going to just put a little bit more of the glue on the outside there and fold over the edge. And then the glue that's out on the outside, you can just kind of like seal off any bits where there's a little bit of a hole. Okay, and then you have the tortilla wrap samosa. So I'm going to show you that again. Just in case you missed it, I'm just going to wash my hands because they're a little bit dirty. Okay, so wrap that way, fold in and fold in to make a cone. Use your glue to seal, like so. Okay. Then we're going to load it in with our topping, or our filling, sorry. In we go. Okay. And then fold the last flap over the top, a little dot of glue on the edge, and seal everything together. Okay, and do that for as many samosas as you would like. Okay, so I've made all my samosas. Got 8 of them here, that's plenty for me. So I'm just gonna now fry them off. So you could cook these one of 2 ways. You could put these on a baking tray and you could bake them in the oven. That'd probably be the healthiest way to do it. But because I'm gonna cook them in front of you, I'm gonna fry them. So the other way to do it is this. So you wanna get your pan on a fairly hot heat, okay? And you're gonna need to get a bit of oil in there, probably about 1/4 of the bottle. This is almost like deep frying, not quite, so you must make sure you've got an adult to help you. Don't want anybody getting burnt, okay? I would recommend that you do these in the oven. They'll take about 15 minutes in the oven, at about 180, I reckon, and they'll be great. Just while waiting for that oil to heat up, I'm just going to take some mint we've got here, and I'm going to strip the leaves off the stems. Okay, once we strip the leaves off, we can then give them a little chop. I'm going to make a little minty yoghurt sauce. Okay, so very quickly give those a chop up just while this oil comes up to heat. So straight across, and you need to spend a bit of time chopping this up really fine, because what you don't want in a sauce is big chunks of herbs. Okay, so you're going to break it down as fine as you possibly can. Okay, keep working it backwards and forwards until you've got it really fine. That oil's getting nice and hot, hopefully. You need to make sure that you give it time to heat up if you are going to fry them, because if you don't, then the oil isn't going to fry, it's going to kind of soak into the wrap, and that's no good, because it means that the wrap will end up being soggy. So leaving it on the heat for a little while is good. Okay, so that mint is going into that bowl. Just going to take some Greek yoghurt. Use any kind of yoghurt really, as long as it's not flavoured. Okay, and that's going to go into the bowl. This is going to be our dipping sauce for our samosas. Okay, and then we're going to put in some curry powder as well, just a little bit, and just mix it up. It's really that simple. Excuse me to keep my fingers, I am here in my own family, don't do that if you're serving the people. Okay, and we're just going to make a really simple yoghurt there. Okay, cool. Right, now this is going to be hot enough. So I'm just going to, if you always fry it with the side that you glued down first, then that's going to seal it in. So that's going to go down into the fat, into the hot fat. Be really careful when you're popping these in. Okay, you don't want it to splash, so just gently drop them in. Okay, fry them off. But sticky side down first, or the side that you've sealed first, should make sure that when you turn them over, everything's going to stay in. If you do that side up, you might find that it unfolds on you. Nobody wants that. Okay, so just be really careful dropping these in. As I say, get an adult to help you. Okay, just going to give them a minute on the one side before we turn them over. Best friend here is a pair of tongs, because you can just kind of check on them as they go. And they're starting to fry quite nice. That one's coloured up already, so turn it over. 30 seconds that was. Probably they don't take very long at all, but once they're golden brown, they're good to go. You might want to turn them over again for a second time. And then when they're going to come out, you need to get yourself some, if you've got some kitchen paper, or you know, these is what I use, is like, this is just like a blue kitchen towel. Put that on a board, and then when you take these out, you can place them straight onto that, and it will soak up any excess fat and make sure that they stay nice and crispy. Just going to keep going with those. So I've turned them all over once now, so I'm going to go back to the first one that I turned over and turn it back over again, because by the time you got round them, you can get 8 in a big pan like this easy, but By the time you got around the first lot, then they're ready to turn again. So you can use that as your way of gauging how long to heat them in the fat for. If they're not frying hard and fast like this, then your oil's not hot enough. Keep turning them over. A couple more minutes, I reckon. A few of them just need to brown up a touch more. We are nearly there. Very nearly, I would say. Feel nice and crispy to touch. Keep going. That's beautifully golden now. I'm going to just show you at the end what colour they need to be. Turn these ones over for the final time. Gorgeous. Something really satisfied about cooking samosas. Love it. Alright. So we're nearly there. I'm going to give 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to start taking them out. So that's the colour we're looking for. Nice and golden, crisp. Straight onto the board on your paper or your blue cloth. Okay, I'm going to have to work quickly now, they're almost overcooked, they're going real fast. Okay, I'm going to turn the heat off, and we have 8 beautiful, super simple samosas. I'll plate them up and show you what they should look like when they're done. And there we have it, guys. Tortilla wrap samosas. Absolutely banging these are. Get some made, impress your mates, send us a picture, I'd love to see what you made, and we'll see you next week. As usual, send in your requests and we'll see what we can do. Like, subscribe while you're there. Cheers!